the list, bro.
We are doing the top 10 rivalries in wrestling history, as well as the top 10 theme songs in wrestling history. That's, any company, any time, any place. I will do my greatest rivalries in wrestling first, and then let you do yours. And then if you wanted to start off with your top 10 themes, and then I'll do mine.
Cool.
My top 10 rivalries in wrestling history, I ranked them 10 to 1. Number 10, I said, and I based these off of like length, in depth to the story, how many people really cared about it, how great the matches were, that kind of stuff. One of the rivalries in my top. The matches weren't great, but just the eyes that were on the product and how many people loved it, that alone made it into the top. Number 10, I said Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. That went on through WCW and WWE. Got a little weird at the end, though, so that's where I kind of backed away.
A little.
Yeah, it's like
I think they just ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, where I will admit I have his "I'm Your Poppy" T-shirt, but that's only because of I got that after he passed. But the fact that they had a ladder match with custody papers as the prize was can you imagine?
Russo!
I know. Can you imagine if that was the way that real custody battles were determined? It's like, well, Mr. Jenkins, you climbed the ladder first, so you get Little Billy.
Little Jimmy.
Yeah, Little Jimmy. Oh, man.
Yeah, that was a brutal ending, though. I didn't like it.
Yeah, but the matches.
Even when I loved Eddie Guerrero, one of my all-time favorites.
Absolutely, and heel Eddie, face Eddie, they were all great. Their matches were amazing, and it spanned. It went for a long time. Number 9, I said Raven versus Sandman from ECW.
Ooh, man, that was a good one.
Yeah, the matches were.
I bumped that off my list, but that was a good one.
The matches were, what they were, but the actual.
Well, Raven's amazing, and he carried them amazingly. So yeah, I gotta point that out.
Well, and the storyline, yes, it was weird, but it was ECW, and it was just it added. The Eddie and Ray weirdness didn't really add to them, whereas this
You
added.
pointed out, by the way, that both your top first two involved a child. I need to just say that.
I know, but this one was more brainwashing, and it was uncomfortable, but at the same time it was kind of what Bray Wyatt does now, but not as toned down.
I would have axed the crucifixion thing, but
yeah, that was.
It is what it is.
That was very uncomfortable to watch. There was a famous quote where I guess Taz was very angry about it and went up to Raven. He was like, "Well, what?" He was like, "Oh, you and Paul Lee and whatever." He was like, "Why don't we just put him up on a Jewish star?" And Raven said, "Well, because it would roll away." I was like, "Wow, that was a quick-witted response." But anyway, he should have used a crucifix there, Greg. Because that's a thing. Number 8, I said Ric Flair and Sting, because that one went on for years. It made Sting's career, and they had great matches. I mean, some of the matches, I know everybody just goes crazy over their what was it, a 45-minute draw that they had at Clash of the Champions?
Yeah, the first Clash of the Champions against WrestleMania 4.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad match. It was just if you saw the first half of the match, you saw the whole match because they just redid the same spots.
Well, that was the thing with the NWA. They loved those 45-minute draws. Steve-O and Flair did it 100 times, so I don't...
Yeah, well, that's what I guess he said. Sting actually said something. He was like, "Do you think we should do the same thing over? Should we do something else?" And he's like, "Why? It worked the first time."
Yeah.
So
what I love about it, looking back at it as a kid, too, the Great American Bash match where Sting won the title was 15 minutes, I think.
Oh.
No, not give you 15 minutes, 45 minutes. He couldn't do it, and he was younger. only a couple of years, but better shape probably, and couldn't do it in 45 minutes, but you can do it in 15. Okay.
He was.
Not that I complain. When I was a kid, I marked the hell out. That was the very first pay-per-view I ever ordered.
He was more inexperienced at Clash of the Champions. We'll say that. That was the thing. But Rick had to see if he could work. Number 7, I said Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage. My all-time favorite Hulk Hogan feud, and I think that's many people's. Because
stretched across companies, that's already a plus too.
Yeah, and I mean that storyline between the Mega Power, of the Mega Powers exploding, lasted a year. They built this thing up for a year, and it wasn't John Cena and The Rock build up for a year, where it's like, I'm going to challenge you on Raw after Mania, and then I'm not going to see you for another 6 months. This built up constantly. And it was expertly done, and Macho Man and Hogan were at the best, and Macho Man was like the antithesis to Hulk Hogan. It was perfect. Number 6, I said Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. Just because that one was real.
That was real.
Yeah,
it was. Really intense towards the end.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've heard it was intense the entire way, but especially at the end.
I love the story of, and other people have backed Cornette up on this, so it's not just, Cornette telling stories, but I guess they got into a brawl in the backstage area, and Shawn Michaels is not a tough guy, whereas Bret Hart is, and Bret grabbed him.
And real quick, in Jim Cornette's own words, Shawn Michaels is 0 for life in real fights. So, yeah.
I love that. He said, I guess Bret, during the fight, went hockey style on him, but grabbed him by his hair and yanked a big old thing of hair out, and Michaels storms into Vince's office with Cornette in there with a handful of hair, and it's like, I'm getting tired of this crap, and he throws the hair down on the floor and starts screaming and yelling, and Vince has to take him out in the hallway. And I guess Jim Cornette's ex-wife was a big fan of Shawn Michaels, so he said he picked up his hair and put it in a bag and took it home.
Yeah, I remember that.
But it was an intense storyline. I will say, I even though I'm not Canadian, I know what a flag means to people, and the fact that Shawn Michaels wiped his nose with the Canadian flag, wiped his crotch with it, and humped it in the middle of the ring, I think was beyond what he should have been doing. You look at that, and then you see, then you remember that Chris Jericho got suspended for months for just kicking the Venezuelan flag, or the Brazilian flag. I'm sorry.
Flag.
Yeah, the Brazilian flag. Yeah. He just kicked it, whereas Shawn Michaels literally humped the Canadian flag in the middle of the ring and then stuck it up his nose. Come on.
I actually wanted to do that with the Yankees flag in New York, to be honest with you. But,
nice. And then,
I think that wouldn't be so bad, though. You're not disrespecting a nation.
Yeah. Well, Big Show had to issue an apology for yanking down the Russian flag in the middle of the ring.
That wasn't even that was an accident, I believe, too. I don't think it was supposed to happen, I don't believe.
I think he was supposed to rip it down, that was a thing, but then, they realized, Russia wasn't very happy about that. Well, duh.
You don't want to make Putin mad. I mean, we respect him, but anyway, different story.
The next one, number 5, I said the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. They were, again, you want to talk about the antithesis of one another. They were perfectly matched, and classic matches all over the place. And, with Jim Cornette getting involved, who I've been, mentioning, and everything, it was awesome. Number 4, we're back to Ric Flair. I said Ric Flair versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. Number 4, they had epic matches forever, and they were perfectly matched, and it was awesome. I don't think those two have ever had a bad match.
Nope.
Number 3, I said the Von Erichs versus the Freebirds, because that one was heated. I don't think there was any actual personal animosity between the two teams, but man, they made it seem like there was in the ring every time. and the Freebirds got shot at and had almost, had everything thrown at them and everything else in the book. That was some real Southern style heat there with them. Number 2, I said Vince McMahon versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was the feud that made the Attitude Era and led to one of the most profitable eras in WWE, or the most profitable.
I just said feud that ended WCW too, by the way.
Oh, it did, because
that feud started their winning streak.
Yeah, after the real creation of they said the week that turned the ratings around was when they announced Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
So
when Dude Love got involved and everything, yeah.
Yeah, it was. So there you go. And the only reason they put that as number 2 was because number 1 just had better matches, and it went on about as long as McMahon versus Austin. Number 1, I said The Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because those ones, they had amazing matches. How many people?
What I love too about that is it started like when they were both really young. And then, like when they were like peaking, and then like when they were icons, like they had matches. So like it ran like 3 different eras of their time.
Well, and how many people?
It's amazing when you look at it like that.
Well, yeah, and how many people can you say were so good and so amazing that that those two headlined WrestleMania 3 times? In singles
and it only
matches.
got better each time, by the way.
Exactly.
Every time.
Exactly. Nobody can say that. Not even Michaels and Undertaker. But that is my top 10 list of greatest feuds. What do you got, Greg?
One of ours matches evenly, by the way, number 4, but I'll get to that. Number 10, I have Triple H and The Rock.
Oh yeah.
I thought another one that just had amazing ass matches.
Well, plus you want to talk about getting real. Those two really don't like each other.
Yeah, right. I mean, also what was cool too is like another one. They like Rock won his very first title. Like Rocky Maivia beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley, and then they feuded with the Nation and DX. And then when they broke off, and they were like uneasy partners in the corporate ministry, just the corporation. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's like, it just stretched so long. I thought that was just great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it kind of never got old. I think it would have eventually, but I think they cut it off right at the time.
Yep.
Number 9, I said Trish Stratus and Lita. Ooh. Just still to this day, maybe the greatest women's rivalry in history.
Yep. Yeah, that's that's the most recognizable one for sure.
Oh, yeah. Lita's still the first woman to headline Raw. I think the second time she did it was with Trish. Very few people remember that she headlined Raw with Stephanie McMahon, which is stupid, but
wow,
whatever. Yeah. Number 8, I said Kurt Angle and Edge. Man, that was a great rivalry. So great.
Yeah, that was
it made SmackDown better than Raw, in my opinion.
Wasn't that the hair versus hair storyline where Angle got shaved?
Yeah, basically started with that. I mean, it started like in the Alliance, like they planted the seeds, but that was like what kicked it off big time, was the hair versus hair. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, I remember that, and Kurt Angle wearing the stupid headgear with the wig.
Yeah, which he broke out the Hall of Fame, which I love, by the way. I marked it a little bit, I'm not going to lie.
I liked where he made, I still remember the promo where he's, like, complaining to whoever the GM was at the time about he was like, I've tried everything. I even put Miracle Grow on there, and it just won't come back.
Yeah. I think it was Stephanie.
That was awesome.
No, I think that was Van Sy. She came later. Number 7, Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Epic.
We said it already, yeah.
Yep.
Number 6, I said AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels.
Oh, man, how did I leave that one out?
Yeah, that was just...
That's the feud of TNA.
There's a couple you left out that I'm shocked about that you didn't, mention. And, yeah, it's okay. There's only room for so many, I know.
Yep.
Number 5, Von Erichsen Freebirds, which we already talked about.
Yep.
Number 4, same as your number 4, Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair.
Oh yeah, that's a defining feud that everybody knows.
Oh yeah, they made each other. I mean, I know Flair was already the man, but that only elevated him, I think.
Oh yeah.
Number 3, here's another one you left off. I was shocked to left off was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Kevin Steen, Generico.
The only reason I left that one off is because the feud has become so stale and they won't let it go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely become stale, but we're talking greatest ever. It's definitely in there.
Yeah, and
I'm not saying it's still hot. Don't get me wrong. I'm getting sour on seeing it all the time too now.
It was a defining Ring of Honor feud, but I like how Jim Cornette acts like I don't get it. I didn't get it. Like, really? Like, what is there not to get? It was amazing.
I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Better than Rock and Roll and Midnight Express.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing. Number 2. This one you didn't say, and I'm like, what the hell? It was DDP and Macho Man. I'm like, wow, dude, you missed that one.
Yeah.
That was amazing. One of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
The whole year.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap.
I didn't watch a lot of WCW in that era, unfortunately. Like, I was off and on, but...
Yeah, I would recommend watching their feud on the network. It's... Wow, man. Holy crap. Especially the match at Spring Stampede 97.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out.
That was the night. That's the famous one where DDP mentions, he does the Macho Man impersonation, I want to take the Diamond Cutter tonight. He gave him, he made DDP that night.
Was that the one... was that the one that got cut off or something?
No, that was DDP and Goldberg.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and number 1, it's pretty obvious. It's the only one I didn't mention was Austin McMahon.
Oh, yeah. That one was a great feud all the way around. It just, the only reason I had it as number 2, like I said, was because of the quality of matches. So yeah. But everything else of that feud was money.
Yeah, 2 that I need to honorably mention too is Triple H and HBK. That was just great.
Oh yeah.
And WCW versus the NWO, which was great, but obviously they soured the hell out of it. So
yeah, I had that one on my list, and then I dropped it out after a while.
Yeah, I did too. I had it pretty high, and then I was like, you know what? Like, they kind of killed it.
They really did. It was sad.
Also, Cena and Orton I had honorable mention, but I bumped them too. But it was.
Yeah, Triple H and Shawn Michaels had an amazing feud that like was like so on again, off again, but I loved it.
Yeah.
So, and then Kane versus Undertaker was another one.
Yeah, that was great. Kind of a weird thing in '98 though. Like he set him on fire and all that, and then he desecrated his parents' grave, and all of a sudden, a couple months later, they're friends again. Like, really?
Yeah, like, I forgive you for burning me.
Yeah.
And they kept changing Kane. Like, first he had a voice box, and then he could talk normal, but he talked all garbled, and then he could talk normal. And I'm like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I remember him going to the cemetery with a sledgehammer, taking out the gravestones and setting them on fire. And then I remember him and Paul Bearer actually physically wheeling the coffins with the skeletons inside out onto the stage. Undertaker running up and getting chokeslammed through the coffin into, according to Jerry the King Lawler, into his mother's casket. I'm like, how did you know it was his mom?
That was some Vince Russo at his finest right there.
I will say it wasn't too bad. I mean, like, it was bad, but at the same time, it was like it added some creepiness to the feud. But yeah, it was a little far. But it was okay with those two characters. Okay, well, now we got the top 10 theme songs in wrestling history. I want to see how we match up here. What do you got?
So this one's like really weird because I had like a crap ton. I had a bump a lot. So
yeah.
Number 10, I said DDP's WCW theme.
Oh yeah, that one was awesome.
Nirvana ripoff. That was just wow.
Yep, that was awesome. I mean, fit in perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Number 9, just because it was just to this day, I have this song on my phone, just great. Is the Nexus theme song from was it 12 Stones, I think?
Yeah, 12 Stones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
God, it was an amazing theme.
That one, I love the Core's various theme songs as well.
Oh I do too. Yeah, I just thought Nexus just like blew everyone away.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Number 8, Eddie Guerrero's.
Which one?
Just so iconic. The Light Heat Still.
Oh, okay.
It's just so iconic.
Yep.
Number 7, I'm pretty sure you're gonna have this one on there. We both agree this is like one of his best. Was The Undertaker's theme from 1998.
That's actually my number 7.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorites. Like his, in my personal opinion, his best one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was different.
6, yeah.
You said number 6, DX?
Yeah. That was still to this day, they also helped WWE eliminate WCW, I believe.
Yep, and the theme, I mean, that theme is just iconic. When it hits, everybody, like, blows up. Yeah,
right. You get that rave feel, too.
Yeah.
From these idiots, stupid stuff. I'm like, come on, dude, it's great.
Yep.
Part of this list, by the way, is, for me, is, like, not just a great song, but also fit the character.
Yep.
That was important.
I went with those. I went with, great song, fits the character, and how much it gets stuck in my head.
Yeah, right. Number 5, the NWO. Again, iconic.
Yep.
Just, there was a time where I started getting sick of it, though, because it was every single Monday night over and over and over, because they only had one theme.
And, well, eventually they had the NWO mid-card theme, which didn't sound anything like the NWO theme. Yeah.
But, to their defense, it did sound like a mid-card theme, so there you go.
Yeah. I liked the remix of Rock House that they did for the band in TNA.
Yeah, that was a good one. I thought so too.
I even liked
really
I even like the dubbed theme that they used for the NWO in WWE.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good, but it was. I liked it.
Yeah, I could have seen that as a secondary theme too.
Yep.
Number 4, Triple H, his current one.
The Game.
I mean, it's a masterpiece. It's Motorhead. What more can I say?
It perfectly fits him.
Yeah, it does. Number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Just, you hear that song, crap's about to get nuts.
Yep.
Yeah. Number 2, and like, if it wasn't for number 1 being in existence, this would be number 1. It's just, I love Evolution's theme.
Yeah.
I just thought it flowed so great.
Yeah, the Evolution.
So perfectly.
I always loved Evolution. Another Motorhead theme.
Yeah, right. And it's like, people like Ric Flair, you only see him using his actual theme, but you see him shredding to that music and walking cocky and arrogant. Like, wow. They were able to give Ric Flair another theme, and that was impossible for 20 years. So,
I know, right?
Yeah. And then number 1, come on, you know what it is. It's Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah, Real American.
The most recognizable song in wrestling history.
That was, yep. Well, I did love when he was Hollywood and he came out to Voodoo Child.
Oh, yes.
I thought that was
also,
awesome.
I didn't put any, like, quote, real songs on there. Otherwise, I would have had Enter Sandman for Sandman. I just went with wrestling made ones, to be fair.
Well, that, and I would have put Edge's theme songs on there.
I did. That's on one of my honorable mentions, by the way. I put him, Cena, Orton, both of Orton's, Kurt Angle, and Ric Flair. I did have Edge's on there. Yeah. But again, I wanted to go with themes that were wrestling made.
I almost put AJ Styles' Get Ready to Fly on there, and even I Am. I thought that one was awesome.
Yeah, I thought I Am was his best theme, personally.
Yeah, I love that. And back when he was using Get Ready to Fly at a house show I was at, he actually came out to I Am. So that was different.
That's great. What do you got?
My top 10, I said number 10, Bad Street, the Fabulous Freebirds theme song, because that was a great song. It fit them, and it was like the first rock theme at the time. They kind of like everyone else like, oh, this is cool. Now we're gonna do it. Yeah. I know, right? And that was around the same time they had. I guess the Rock and Roll Express used to come out to Jump by Van Halen. but the Freebirds made their own theme. And let's see, number 9, I said Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme. I did love, my favorite that he ever came out to was Glass Shatters by Disturbed. But I mean, his theme that he always comes out to is iconic.
Real quick, I gotta say, I did like his Alliance theme, his last Alliance theme. I thought that was good.
The slower paced one or the faster one?
No, hell no. I hate the slower one.
Yeah, it was annoying. Yeah, I like that one too. It gets stuck in my head sometimes. I thought it was cool. Number 8, I said Ric Flair's theme to 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know what the actual name of the song is, but I just know it was the theme song to that movie.
I think that is a theme. That is the name, I think.
It had some other name to it. I just can't remember what it was. It was some Latin, whatever. But yeah, that one. I mean, when that song hits, everybody knows who it is. Like, that's Ric Flair. Yep. You don't think of the movie, you think of Ric Flair.
Exactly.
Number 7, I said Undertaker's 98 theme, 98 theme. For all the reasons we said. Number 6, I went with Shinsuke Nakamura's The Rising Sun theme. Because
that's another one, when you hear it, people just know when they go nuts and sing it.
Exactly. And I mean, they sing along with it. And you have no idea how many times I've had that song stuck in my head. And I just want to, I don't want to look like a weirdo walking through the halls at work doing his stupid air drum stuff that he does. But it's like it's stuck in my head, so I'm like, dang it. I almost put Finn Balor's theme on this list too, because it's so good. Number 5, I said Triple H's The Game, for just because all the reasons we said. Number 4, DX theme. Number 3, NWO's theme. Number 2, it was really hard for me to decide between number 1 and number 2. But I ultimately went with this order. Number 2, I said Chris Jericho's Break Down the Walls theme. That theme is amazing. And he's went with different variations of it since 1999. Unfortunately, there for a month, he went with that Don't You Wish You Were Me that he sang. That was awful.
Yeah. I did like when he put Saliva's King of My World. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I love that.
For a minute.
Yeah, I love that song. But Break Down the Walls was amazing. I love that theme. And I think it's one of the greatest themes in wrestling. But number 1, I had to go with Real American Hulk Hogan, because everybody knows that when that song hits, everybody just poops their pants and throws the babies in the air, So,
right. It's the wrestling theme. That's what it is.
Yeah, everybody knows. They tried when he had to change his theme in WCW. They tried with that American Made. That was a cool song, but you can't beat Rick Derringer with Real American.
No, you can't.
So that is the list, bro, for today. I got to see I wrote down all the ideas I had for upcoming lists. I just got to pull it up here. Let's see. Here we go. This is an interesting one. For next week, I want to go with top 10 weirdest thrown together tag teams in history.
Oh man, there's a long one.
So many of them. Not ones that had a name, like, the Dangerous Alliance, even though that one, or was it, or Deadly or Dangerous, whatever the one in ECW was. The one was Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck. Unholy Alliance. Okay, I was wrong with both of them. Good Lord.
Yeah.
There was the Unholy Alliance, the Deadly Alliance, or Dangerous Alliance, or whatever. I don't know. They were all over the place. But
they love their alliances. Yeah.
Well, either way, that is the list. 10 weirdest thrown together tag teams. I already had a few running through my head. We will discuss that next week next Monday on the program.